Hi, I'm Paul Chapman and welcome to Meridian Energetics number 4 video, or number 3 video and number 4 in the series of diagnostic tools for massage therapists. And today we're going to talk about the voice. What's in a voice? Now, you think the voice is just, or sound energy is basically the vibration of matter as a mechanical wave. And if we think of the body as a closed and pressurized system, and the Ouroboros, I don't know if people have seen this shape before. Well, most people probably have heard of the snake eating its own tail. But the symbolism connected to this, if we apply this to the body, this means that the body is a closed, pressurized system. And we have release valves within this system. Yeah, we have the breath, for example, the mouth and the nose, and the ability to take in and take out of pressure. We have the pores of the skin. Yeah, again, they open and close to interact with the changing environmental and internal and external environmental changes. And then you also have the bowels and the urine, and they open and close according to levels of pressure within the system as well. And then we also have an abstract function, which is creative expression. And this is seen through the 7 emotions. So we have different emotional states that also, at certain pressures, release themselves. And we can train ourselves to fine-tune and hear these things within a person's voice. And the voice is free, isn't it? You know, we don't have to look at all sorts of heaps of text and stuff about it. The person comes in and communicates to us directly using their voice. And it can give us great insight. On its own, as a pure diagnostic tool, you'd have to really study it. But you could use just the voice to diagnose completely a person and apply a treatment. So there's masses of potential in it. But for a basis, yeah, we're just going to look at a few things, a few signs and symptoms, you can say. Now, Chinese medicine, as you know, has got that famous yin-yang symbol. And yin-yang basically is just, as we know, is opposites, positive, negative, up, down, in, out. And if we look at that in terms of the breath, or in terms of yang energy being related to heaven. Now, heaven's not a mystical, spiritual thing. It's not related to religion at all. It's just an energy determination. It's a description of a type of energy. And then earth is considered yin. So when we take an in-breath, we're taking heaven into us as a human being. And remember, we're a closed, pressurized system. So an in-breath is an origin. It's a beginning. And it opens the outside into us. Yeah? And it infuses this through oxygen. It infuses this to every cell of our body. Yeah? And it connects to our heart, goes through the vascular system, and connects to our entire being just from an in-breath. And this generates energy, and it invigorates the body. And like I said before, the cardiovascular system is the level of communication of the air, the in-breath. And then the exhale is a response to heaven. So it's how earth responds to heaven. And you can see this in religious texts. You know, I think it says something like, as on earth as it is in heaven. I think is even part of the Lord's Prayer, isn't it? If I think back to my days in Catholic school, and when I had to be an altar boy and all that stuff, should have known the Lord's Prayer off by heart. And that's also the axiom, as above, so below. It's contained within this thing. So as we take in the in-breath, the body responds to it. So the in-breath resonates through all the cells, and we get a response that comes back out. And it reveals basically who we are as a whole being. Yeah? And it, as we know, it removes toxins and poisons as well. And it can reposition or redefine us if we pay attention through our voice and through the responses that come back from our external environment through the voice. What it is actually we are inside, who we are, and how we communicate and relate to the rest of the world. Now, the voice has different levels of frequency. And if we look at the yang frequency is high. And if you listen to body sounds as well, you might get a tunnel rumble, it's got a rising sound, or you might get that sounds. It's a yin sound, it's a descending. So yang energy rises. And one of the things I noticed when I came, or actually when I was living in England, and my mum had some Australian friends, and when they used to come over, the kids, how they spoke, I used to just sit there like this, listening to their speech, because it always went up at the end. And it makes me think about Australians and what their attitude to life is. It's kind of yang, isn't it? It's up and out there. And it's a generalisation, of course, but there is the way that their whole speech reflects upwards is a sign of that yang nature. And yang is a full energy, and it creates creative potential. And when yang is getting too strong, it can be loud. Yeah, have you heard people that have loud voices? Generally, it's associated to excess in the lungs. And also talking fast. I'm speaking quite fast, aren't I? Because I've got a lot of information to share, and I'm excited about it. And this is all yang energy, yeah, rather than if I sort of talk like this. Because I really got something important to tell you. And it's a whole different aspect in it. So it's more of a yin nature. And a yin nature can also be someone that talks like this. So we can get a yang at the start, and it goes like this. So it's strong yang energy can be yang as we go into the speech. As we start the word, it's loud, it's that loud initiation. And when a person's energy is becoming deficient, they're the sort of person that starts talking but then they don't finish their sentence. Have you ever spoken to people like that? You're talking to them and they start to tell you something, and then they just gets quiet, or they just stop completely, don't even finish. So that we need to build up the chi, and in the chi we work on the upper warmer for the lungs and the middle warmer for the spleen. We work directly on the spleen and the chi to create what's called postnatal essence, which comes from the breath and from food. Now, as we're a closed pressurized system, the Chinese have identified the 12 meridians and segmented these into 2-hour sections during each day. Okay, so the lungs, which are the masters of energy, the master of chi, the thing that takes the breath into the body, starts at 3 a.m. in the morning. And this is the practice of a lot of people that follow a devoted path, the path of devotion. They're often up at 3 o'clock in the morning, because this is the purest beginning energy space in the day. And they meditate maybe 3 to 5 during the long time period. And we'll notice over here, so we've got 3 o'clock, the lungs. So lungs go to 5 o'clock in the morning. And then the large intestine goes from 5 to 7. So each time we take a breath, we're also passing the breath through these 12 cycles. And in some ways, the 12 animals in Chinese astrology, or the 12 signs in Western astrology, or the 12 tribes in biblical times, the 12 apostles, they're all symbols, you could say, of a whole, of a totality. They're fragments of a whole thing that is broken down for us to be able to identify them. And in a lot of ways, the meridians are similar to that as well. So the breath passes through the meridians, and then we also have the connection of what's called the 5 elements. So generally, within each element, there's a yang and a yin meridian. And in the metal, when we're talking about lungs, lungs is relates to the metal element. We have lung here, and its yang partner is the large intestine. So lungs 3 to 5 in the morning. We just go back to that chart. Lungs 3 to 5, and its partner, the large intestine, is 5 to 7. We can see in this chart here they're differentiated by colour. So the metal element being the white here, the earth element, the stomach and spleen being the yellow, moving into the fire element. So there's the yang and the yin meridians related to their element are connected together in the 12 meridian clock. And each, basically, like I said before, in the 5 elements, everything can be put into the 5 elements to explain its function and its relationships, if it supports, if it sedates, if it antagonises, if it promotes creation. And in the voice, when we look at 5, well, let's just look here at the. So I've got it here. Yeah, okay. So if we look at the different characteristics of voice according to elements, then the metal element relates to the autumn. And what happens in autumn? Yeah. A lot of work usually in the old days when you were farming, because autumn is the harvest time, and that's where you've got to take all of the efforts that are put in through winter, through spring, and through summer, and late summer as well. You take all of that growth and you store it, or you begin to store it, and you also do a lot of pruning. So metal is very much about cutting. It's very much about, okay, what do I accept and what do I let go of? And it's a time of, in the psychology of the metal, it's actually learning through sadness and learning through grief, and also feeling the feelings of guilt are connected to the metal element in a way that helps us eventually transform to the realization that each breath, which is mindfulness, bringing to the moment, each breath is an opportunity to be happy. So the metal element, autumn, is actually appreciation and gratitude and how precious each moment is. That's what it's teaching us. So the autumn. So when we get someone that comes in and they say, and they talk a bit like this, and they're sort of prone to burst into tears, and it's you know, it's kind of like it's a fairly heavy energy for them, and they're going through a lot of stuff. Really, what they're going through is, okay, what have I pruned here? What do I let go of? What is it that I need in this moment, right here, right now, to ground me in this space, to bring some level of happiness? And what's the greatest tool a massage person has? The greatest tool, the breath. Okay. Do you use the breath in your treatments? Do you connect a person into this stuff with their breath? It's very powerful. In the earth season, okay, we're going through, if you can see on here, we're going through the cycle of the meridians through the day. So the earth season's a singing voice. It's a soothing voice. That's the, you know, oh, little babe, it's so beautiful, it's so wonderful. You know, that stuff that we do to our little kids and stuff like that. That's the spleen. That's the earth element, the mother of all, you could say. And it's got a sing-song quality. And consequently, people that sing a lot, their earth element is, you know, this maybe requires a bit of balancing. Yeah. The fire is connection. Fire is the heart, and it's socialization, appropriate social behavior. And it's because it's a connecting quality. It's usually got a fair amount of. It's a quality you hear in a person's voice that makes you want to listen to what they've got to say. It pulls you in. It's a yeah, I want to join with that. I want to know about that energy. It's a fire's connection. The water, the winter, is the grunt, deep sounds, and oh woe is me, and because water is so changeable and so nourishing, but has great depth and is life-giving and dangerous at the same time. There's a lot of shit in water. Water's the winter time. It's the time when we don't get all that yummy yang type of growth. It's the time when we have to consolidate. We have to bring ourselves in. And can you hear that in the voice? And then we go through. I'm going to leave the firewood for now. It's a little bit more complex. Takes a bit more explanation, but it basically takes the time of the 7 to 11 p.m. in the day, and then 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. is the wood time, and the wood organs are the meridians, are the organs and meridians of the gallbladder and liver, and they connect to spring. So their movement is growth, their new growth. But the energy, the voice of the liver, it's loud, it's agitated, it's thunder. It creates movement and change. It starts quickly. Sometimes peters off, and it's dynamic, and it's also angry and aggressive, very much a wood quality. But angry aggression that's channeled into creativity is the foundation of all your dreams. Everything that you want to aspire to is attained by the power of wood. Some really cool energy wood. Well, they're all cool energies. They all work together. What have we got here? We've got 5 elements again. If we look at that, like I was talking before about the letting go quality of the metal, the 5 elements, they tell us what nourishes and what sedates and what controls, kind of thing. There's a particular pattern, the way that the elements run through. And if we look at the seasons, spring, summer, late summer, autumn, winter, we can look at the differing levels of growth within those seasons, and they happen within our psychology and within our body. And starting at metal, because metal's lung and it's connected directly to breath. And as I said before, it's that, what do I let go of in autumn? What do I need to release at this stage in my life in order to prepare to rest a little bit and contemplate during winter? And this is also the afternoon time. Yeah, if we look at early hours of the morning to sunrise as being wood, and then from mid-morning maybe to mid-afternoon as fire, then late summer, autumn time, they're coming in the latter part of the afternoon, and then moving towards winter in midnight. So it's also on a daily basis, and it's also within each breath. Yeah, so within each breath we can use this pattern as well. So we bring in, what do I let go of? And then in the winter time we think about, okay, what's a wise choice here? And we think about a choice, and then in spring we act on it. We grow that choice, and that choice comes through fire. Yeah? And fire is, okay, I'll communicate it now outside to the world. And then earth, which follows fire, contemplates the responses of that action in the world. So we've let go of something. Okay, no longer am I going to have that in my life. I'm going to do this. We do it, and then we see the response. And that contemplation part of the earth, because the earth is the mother and gives to everything, that allows us to move back into autumn, back into that contracting period of the day or the year, where we don't necessarily get the big buzz, but we actually get clear about what it is in our life, what's good for us. And I found quite a cool site, 5-element site, 5 Elements Acupuncture from J.R. Worsley, created a school called 5-Element Acupuncture. And they do some interesting work, especially in diagnostic wise, about the character of a person. And this is just a little bit from an Australian site I found, which describes the different types of sound that you can hear in each element quite well. Okay, that's a little bit. That concludes this session. In the next session, we're going to look at excess and deficiency, which also really helps us clarify with voice, and definitely gives us direct action in how we apply treatments to people, how hard we work with them, how long we work with them, what burner do we use, how do we combine the burners together. And for people that do the whole training with me and actually start to work on meridians, then we learn how to specifically work the meridian direction and combinations of meridians to achieve certain results. For those of you watching this on YouTube, because I'm putting it up as my newsletter for this month, if you're a massage therapist or body worker and you're interested in the other of this training series, and you can just go to Meridian Energetics there, or the landing page, sign up to the newsletter, and then the training series just get delivered to your inbox. So listen to the voices, yeah? Just see if you can pick up different intonations in your own voice. Go and grab a coffee, sit in the middle of them all and listen to people's discussions and the types of body actions that they got and their body shape. Start to putting all of this stuff together. It's really fun. It's great fun. And I'll see you in the next series. In the next video. Bye for now.